What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel. You're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear here. And today we're going to be taking a look at this knife right here. Of course, we're talking about the Vosteed Nightshade. This is the regular version of the Nightshade, not to be confused with the mini version that just released a review video on this knife here in the channel. So if you haven't already checked out the video on this one, you're welcome to check it out after this video. I'll put a card at the end if you want to check it out right there. That is the mini version. Of course, this is the regular version of the Nightshade. And so that being said, this knife will also be linked down below in the description. So if you want to check out this knife or any other knife in this video for that matter, they will all be linked down below. If you're looking to consider prices, check availability, perhaps picking yourself up one of these, it does help out the channel when you use those links, but that is entirely up to you. And absolutely zero extra cost. Let's get things started here with a quick measurement. The overall length on this bad boy is going to be around, I want to say 7.5 inches. Technically 7.48. The blade length is going to be 3.26 or more like 3.25, right? With the cutting edge being a little bit less at like 3.1, 3.15. And the handle is going to be about 4.25, right? 4.25 right there. Those are your measurements. Let's do some size comparisons. And of course, this one is a big guy, so it's going to feel right at home along some of the other knives that we typically check out here in the channel. So the Para 2, the Spyderco PM2 and the Para 3 right here. So it's more so, I want to say a little bit bigger than the Para 3, but definitely more comparable to the Para 3 than the PM2. Here's the Demko AD 20.5 right there with the 20 CV and titanium scales. And the smaller brother Shark Cub with the 20 CV and aluminum scales. And yes, the Nightshade is actually going to be a little bit bigger than the AD 20.5, right? So very comparable, maybe a 1/4 inch bigger than the AD 20.5, and of course bigger than the Shark Cub. Check out the Civivi Vision FG right here. Both of these have JG10, right? You can sort of see that right there, and the Civivi Sentinel Strike. Both of these are very popular models from last year. Same thing with the Nightshade, and so yeah, the Nightshade is going to be a little bit shorter, right? So it's like a medium into large, whereas these are definitely large knives, right, I would say. And last but not least, here's your CJRB Pyrite, another very popular knife. And the cousin, right, from Vosteed as well, the Raccoon. All right, check out the Raccoon. Actually, it's very comparable. So the Nightshade might be pretty much on par with the Raccoon. You guys take a look there for yourself and let me know. But again, that gives you an idea, right, a ballpark. Here's the mini Nightshade again for comparison. Right, it's just pretty much the same scale, but on a shorter size knife overall. Something that I noticed about the mini Nightshade is that it comes with thumb studs instead of a blade opening, and it doesn't have a flipper, and it does have a crossbar lock instead of a liner lock, which is what you have going on in this knife. So something to keep in mind. Again, check out the mini Nightshade review for more details after this video. Let's talk about the materials and action on this guy. So again, you have the blade opening here, so you could Spidey flick it all day, every day. That's probably my favorite. Thumb deployment works really good. Also, of course, you do have a D10 on this one, whereas on the crossbar version of the mini Nightshade, there is no D10. The crossbar itself is a D10, so this one you can build a little bit more pressure and then just fire it, and it goes out like crazy. And here's your flipper, which works really good. You can like light switch it and it gets the job done every single time. As far as materials, we have LMAX, so LMAX steel going on this knife. I love LMAX, one of my favorite steels, premium steels on a knife. HRC, according to the Vosteed website, is 60 to 62 HRC, which is pretty good. Multiple finishes are available. This one has a stone wash, but they also offer this knife in a satin finish and a black coated finish also. And then as far as the handles, we have titanium bolsters on this one. I'm getting some pull here from the liners inside. We do have proud liners all around, and those are stainless steel liners, right? So titanium bolsters and jade G10 on the handles. So those are your materials. Again, the action on this knife is really good. Very fidgety, right? I love a knife that has multiple deployment options. That is certainly right up my alley and my personal preference. Full flat grind on this knife. That is another thing that you want to keep in mind. This thing is a slicing beast. You'll see this this later on during the very scientific paper cutting test that we're going to do later in the video. Yeah, we're going to cut some paper and some cardboard. But listen, my experience carrying this knife, anything I threw at it, this thing cut, because flat grind is amazing, especially if it's a full flat grind. And this thing works really, really well. Super, super sharp. You'll see that later on in the video for the cutting test. It is on ball bearings, right? It's actually pretty drop shut for the most part, right? Again, it is a liner lock, so you do have good access to the liner from this side. A little bit of jimping on the liner too, that helps. It's nice and easy to push out of the way. And simply, I line it up and the blade does the rest, right? Check out how it's not a guillotine drop shot, but it's a pretty decent drop shot, and I love it. That is the exact action that I want to see. There is internal stops, right? There's like a track right here internally that, you know, there's a stop pin, or basically an internal track for the blade itself to stop in place, and supported by the liner lock, of course. So it's not a frame lock, so you don't have to worry about putting any additional pressure on the lock bar, which is good. Pretty large knife indeed. And so let's do some carry profiles here. Thickness against the PM2. It's actually going to be a tad bit thicker than the PM2. Also going to be thicker than the Demko AD 20.5. I think the combination of both the bolsters or G10 and the liner themselves makes it a little bit on the thicker side. Right here is the Civivi Vision Civivi Sentinel Strike. And last but not least, here's the Vosteed Raccoon. It's actually a tad bit thicker than the Raccoon as well. Here's how it compares next to the Mini Nightshade. There you go. There's the thickness difference between the regular size Nightshade and the Mini Nightshade on the right. Length and height in the pocket, right? So yeah, it definitely has or carries that sort of aesthetics of any knife that sort of has a significant portion of the blade sticking out, but it's nothing too crazy. I feel like, you know, goes in and out of the pocket pretty good. There's nothing that's going to get caught on the way in or on the way out, right? Obviously, something like a Spyderco knife is going to be a little bit, it's going to stick out a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit taller, right? But I think you sort of get the idea there. Speaking of a slicey blade, let's do a quick blade stock thickness here on this bad boy. 0.12. 0.12 is the thickness here, pretty much the average in the channel, right? Most blade stock thicknesses I check out under this lens are 0.12. And here's the handle. So the average for the channel is 0.5 or half an inch. Here's 0.55, so it makes sense that it is a little bit thicker than some of the other ones that we compared it to. How's this guy on the weight department? Well, first, let's check for some milling. And there's quite a substantial amount of milling on those liners on this side, as you can see there. And also a little bit on the other side too, along with a stress relief cutout and a circle cutout back here. And I want to tell you, it doesn't feel ultra heavy, also doesn't feel ultra light. It has a good, decent weight to it, right, in my opinion. So it comes in at, I should probably give the scale a second to turn on. There we go. It comes in at 3.7 ounces. 3.7 ounces. And for perspective, right, the Mini Nightshade is ultra light. It comes in at 1.8 ounces. Let's also check the hardware on this bad boy here, right? Again, my tools are highly recommended and linked down below. This particular one, let's start with a T8. The pivot is a captive pivot, which is good. So you have the screw head on one side only. It is a T8, but I did notice everything else is a T6. So body screws are T6. So are, you know, pocket clip and things like that. And you guys already know my take on T6 versus T8. So preferably, yes, it's always nice to get T8 over T6. T8 screws are a little bit more stronger, sturdier, less likely to strip over T6. And this knife, the way it's set up, actually comes in at $135. So it's actually coming in a little bit more on that premium price, if you will. Definitely not a budget knife. So T8 would have been appreciated. It's not a deal breaker, but it's more of a preference, kind of a consensus among the EDC knife community, right? That we all prefer T8 over T6. But yeah, other than that, yes, this one is the premium version of the Nightshade. Anytime you combine the LMAX with either G10 or micarta handles, right, you're gonna get that $135 price, right, for that premium version. However, there's also a budget version coming in at $69 for this knife, and that is a Nitro V. So it's a little bit of a downgrade on the steel from LMAX to Nitro V. Think of Nitro V kind of like a step above D2, kind of equivalent to something like 14C28N. So Nitro V in either G10 or micarta is going to run you $69, and this one is again, the premium version will be $135. So LMAX versus Nitro V, right? Kind of have a decision to make there. But yeah, ball bearings are good, drop shot action is good. All deployment options on this knife are pretty awesome, honestly, and I'm glad that they put multiple deployment options here as well. Ergonomically speaking, I have average hands, not the biggest or smallest of hands. And this one feels the hands pretty good here. Still a little bit left of the handle left to go there. I won't recommend forward choking on this one, right? It's a little bit uncomfortable with the way that pocket clip, with the way that flipper tab goes there. So it kind of works more so as a finger guard, so you don't accidentally go into the sharp section of the blade. So that's more so of its utility. You have a good portion of a good amount of jimping here, which is perfect, right? When you're getting your cuts done, your slices, you are locked in, you are ready to put in some work. This thing certainly a performer, to say the least. Again, those liners are proud all throughout. You have standoff construction back here as compared to a backspacer on the mini version. So I'm noticing more and more differences between the regular size and the mini size, aside from deployment and locking mechanisms so far. Also standoffs here versus that backspacer on this one. The other thing that I noticed too, so the pocket clip is deep carry, and this is your standard sort of Vosteed longer pocket clip, kind of like how you can see here on the Vosteed Raccoon. What I noticed though is that they didn't do a reversible pocket clip on this side, which is pretty interesting, right? The Raccoon has a filler tab and some additional screws for that reversible pocket clip. I don't know why you wouldn't have a reversible clip option when you do have it on the mini version as well. So I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe an opportunity left on the table. But they did it on the mini version, so why not do it in the regular version, right? Just seems like seems like a no-brainer, right? But if you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments, or otherwise, if you agree, let me know as well. But yeah, it just makes sense. It's pretty deep carry for the most part. You'll have maybe barely that tip showing, if anything. So it's nice, pretty deep carry. The pocket clip screws are countersunk or flat, right? So this thing goes in and out of the pocket pretty easily, right? The bill itself is pretty shallow, nice and grounded here, nice drop. Also ergonomically on the hand, that pocket clip feels like maybe like an 8.5, like a 9 out of 10. So that's pretty comfortable, right, for the most part. And again, ergonomically speaking, this knife is pretty solid. The sort of curved down portion to it also helps feel really good in the hand as well. It kind of has a natural feel, natural curve to it. And it feels right at home here, right, on the standard hammer grip, if you would. But yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't make it reversible, right? I'm gonna do it here with my left hand. Right, there you go. As you guys know, my left hand doesn't really do much for me on a day-to-day basis, so it's not really as trained as my right hand, because I'm a righty, obviously. But yeah, I'm able to do every single deployment option I can do with my right hand. I can do it with my left hand. So reversible pocket clip would have made a ton of sense. Honestly, I think that might be about the only gripe. And again, being, really nitpicky as a righty, it really doesn't affect me at all. I'm just more so looking out for lefties out there that obviously would want to enjoy this knife just as much. It's a pretty popular model, and I can see lefties being all over this knife. I believe Kevin himself, being a lefty, his channel is Lefty EDC after all. So, I think he did complain about that or mention that during his unboxing and review video as well. So, again, some small minor things. The T6 screws are nitpicks and things like that. But other than that, right, everything else about the knife is money, right? The deployment options, the locking mechanism, the engagement, the disengagement, ball bearings, drop shot action, right? The way it feels on the hand. And ultimately, it is a knife, so it matters how it cuts, how it performs. And this one does a really, really good job, as you'll see here, demonstrated with the very scientific paper cutting test. So let's kind of go ahead and see it in action here. Let's go ahead and cut a little bit of this paper here, shall we? Yeah, check out the beautiful swirls created right there. This thing is sharp. All right, no dings on that blade at all. Bam. No secret that blade is gonna put in some work. So kukri style blade. All right, this is just user error. There we go. Cookie style blade with flat grind like this one is. It is definitely going to be a slicer, right? So we know it can do paper, of course, that is no secret. We're gonna throw some challenge. We're gonna throw a challenge its way. So we have a cardboard here, piece of Huggies diaper box cardboard. A section of it is single wall and another section of it is dual wall. So we'll see how it does. Obviously, when cutting dual wall cardboard, that's a little bit more challenging than cutting single wall cardboard. So remember, when cutting cardboard, don't cut perpendicular, but rather at an angle. And it's gonna look something like this. Wow. Okay, second cut, we'll do a second cut on the single wall. And yeah, that was pretty good. Now it's gonna be a little bit more challenging, and that's just in general for any knife, because you're cutting twice the same surface, right? Twice the same amount of stuff. So yeah, it's actually doing pretty good. All right. And one last one. Yeah, it's actually, yeah, this thing is a cutter. It's a slicer, and it will perform. There's zero doubts about that. Zero doubts. You guys rate it in the comments on a scale from 1 through 10. How sharp is this guy? Holy smokes. Definitely a performer, no doubt about that. Well, there you have it, guys. That is the Nightshade, Vosteed Nightshade L Max. This is the premium version, right? So if you get it with L Max, you're going to pay $135 or so. If you get the budget version, which is with Nitro V, it'll be around $69 or so. Good thing about Vosteed is they're always running some sort of special, so check out the affiliate links down below. Again, they also have the mini version if that's more right up your alley, depending on your local laws. If you can only carry a smaller blade and you really like this style, right, you really like the aesthetics of it, they call this the shilling, S-H-I-L-I-N cutter style. If you would, for me, it's more like a leaf shape sort of style. Like if you took a Warncliffe, a sheep's foot, and a drop point, those three, and you put them in a blender, right, you end up with something like this, I feel like. So that's kind of what you have going on this one. Something I did notice is they pushed the plunge grind way back here on this one, right? Check out where my fingernail is. If the camera could focus, that would be great. Right about right here. So yeah, the plunge grind is pushed back quite a bit on this one, which was something I mentioned with the mini. For whatever reason, the way they did the plunge grind with the mini, you know, it doesn't really allow you to get many sharpens out of it before you start seeing a smile, right? But yeah, big difference on this one. I like the way they executed it, and you can get a decent amount of smiles on this one. And you can get a decent amount of sharpens out of this one before getting a smile, without a doubt. But there you have it, guys. Again, this guy is linked down below. Highly recommendable. Vosteed, again, one of their more successful models. They have so many by now, so definitely recommended. Check it out if you're thinking about buying this knife. Again, it is linked down below, as well as every other knife that you saw in this video. It does help out the channel if you end up picking up a knife through those links, but that is entirely up to you and at absolutely zero extra cost. Let me know if I missed anything during this review, guys. What else would you have wanted to see? What other topics related to this knife you would have wanted me to address? Ask any questions down in the comments below. Let me know what questions you have. If you made it to the end, you guys are the real MVPs, so I appreciate every single one of you. If you're checking out the channel for the first time, a subscription will be greatly appreciated. I promise you'll be worth coming back for more. I make knife and EDC content like this on a daily basis, and you will not be disappointed. Also, smash that like button on your way out. It really will help the channel and this particular video reach a larger audience. If you want to support the channel a step further, there's a link for Patreon down below, or you can simply support the channel right here on YouTube by becoming a channel member. You'll get access to exclusive perks. But that's been it for me, guys, for today. Again, the Nightshade from Vosteed. Really had a great time carrying these knives, both the regular version and the mini version, right? Both of them are solid. Can't go wrong with either or. In the base case, both, right? Both are really complement each other really nicely. So check them out. Again, I'll put the card right here for the mini review, mini Nightshade review right here, so you guys can check that one next. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day so far. I love you all. I appreciate your support. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.